The Red Sox winning streak may be over, but this Red Sox team is still one of the best teams in baseball right now. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. The Boston Red Sox have officially won their third series in a row after winning the first 2 out of 3 games against the Philadelphia Phillies. And the Red Sox are just playing incredible baseball right now, pretty much all around. They also come out of this series with the 7th best record in Major League Baseball and one of the best offenses in the entire game. So we're going to do in today's videos, we are going to break down this latest Phillies series. We're going to talk about all the good things that happened in this series, all the things the Red Sox need to work on, and we're going to talk about why this team is so good right now and just how good they really are. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. As always, let's start with the offense in this series, and normally what we do is we start with the series MVP, right? The guy who had the best offensive performance, but this Red Sox offense was so spread out over this last weekend or this last series, it was really hard to pick just one. Either way, we went with Rafael Devers, who went 4 for 12 with a double and 3 RBI in this series. It really had been a little bit since we could say, hey, Rafael Devers was a key contributor to the wins in a Red Sox series. This is a series that we can do that, and that is absolutely fantastic to say. We knew that Rafael Devers wasn't going to be in a slump for very long. This series truly looked like he was finally breaking out of that slump, so Rafael Devers gets the key contributor award for this video. Tristan Casas didn't have a ton of hits in this series, but he is looking much better at the plate. He had a monster sac fly in the second game that went 400 feet, and the next day he put one out of the park in that exact same spot. He looks so close to breaking out. It is insane. I'm telling you, he's going to get much better very, very quickly. This is something that you can kind of tell by Tristan Casas' confidence, by Tristan Casas' approach at the plate right now. He looks like he is about a millimeter away from really coming into his own at the big league level. On top of that, too, with his home run in the last game of this series, he now has reached base safely in 18 games in a row. So a little bit of a streak there for Tristan Casas, which is very impressive for a guy hitting below 200. Christian Arroyo had a nice game in this series. In the second game, he went 2 for 4 with a double and 2 RBIs. It really sucks that he ended up on the IL in this series. Hopefully that is something that he gets back from quickly, and it is something that he can maintain this hot streak on because he's been on an insane pace this last couple of series. Rob Refsnyder had a pretty big hit in that same game as well. He ended up going 2 for 5 in that game with 2 RBI too. Rob is a ton of fun to watch in general, but against lefties, he's an absolute killer. Somehow, he always finds a way to put himself into RBI opportunities against lefties, and it really does feel like he delivers most of the time. So, Rob Refsnyder, another good game against a lefty. Masataka Yoshida may not have had much RBI production in this series, but he was getting on base a ton, and he now has the longest hit streak in Major League Baseball at 16 games. I mean, the dude really is not human at the plate. He's just getting up there, 1-2 pitches he's seeing, he's driving the ball the other way. That's what he's done. That's what he did this entire series, and it is just wildly impressive to watch. He also got to meet his hero Bryce Harper, which was pretty cool to see. One, I feel great that Masataka Yoshida was able to meet him, but 2, it's a fantastic reminder that this is just a game, and a game where you are supposed to have fun, which I feel like sometimes we forget. Outside of that, Justin Turner had an RBI in this series, Kike Hernandez had an RBI in this series, and Manuel Valdez was hitting well in this series, and overall, I think it was a productive series for this Red Sox team. Now, one thing we have seen in this latest Red Sox run before their winning streak came to a close was that the Red Sox were simply hammering teams to death offensively, right? They were blowing doubles, triples, home runs. They were putting up big numbers on the board. This series felt a little bit different. It felt like they were sort of paper cutting them to death, right? There were a bunch of singles that were station to station baseball, and they were still getting runs across the board. Don't get me wrong. It was just a different style of getting runs across the board, and that's not a bad thing at all. In fact, to me, in this series, what we saw from this Red Sox team was versatility, right? Oh, our big guns aren't going to be able to hit the ball out of the park every 2 or 3 innings, right? Okay, let's have all the other guys, the role players, step up and slap some singles the other way or dribble a single up the middle, and we'll still score 5 to 7 runs a game, right? The last game of this series happened. Every once in a while, this Red Sox offense is allowed to throw up a stinker of a game, but these other 2 games were fun to watch because it was almost a completely different style from what we had been seeing in the past, and to me, that is absolutely fantastic news, right? This Red Sox offense is one of the most potent in baseball. They have the most at-bats, they have the most hits, they have the most doubles, they have the second or third highest average in the league, they have one of the highest OPSs in the league, they have one of the highest slugs in the league. They are one of the best offenses in all of baseball. So what was really cool to me in this series was seeing just how many ways this Red Sox offense can beat you. But let's talk about the pitching as well. As for the starting pitching in this series, Chris Sale got the ball game 1, and he had another pretty good outing, going 6 innings, allowing 3 earned runs on 7 hits, striking out 10 and walking just 1. He really only had that one roughed inning in the 4th, and he was dominant outside of that. On top of that too, we saw Chris Sale hit 99 miles an hour in this start, which we have not seen in a very long time. Overall, I think in this one, it was a very decent start for Chris Sale. It wasn't one of his best of the year. It wasn't one of his worst of the year. This is kind of what I think most people were expecting from Chris Sale going into 2023, and blowing 100 by Bryce Harper was absolutely insane to watch. Overall, I think I'm happy with this start from Chris Sale. Corey Kluber's start was decent as well. He went 5 innings, allowed 3 runs on 7 hits, almost the exact same start as Chris Sale. He did not walk anybody, which is awesome, and he struck out 1. I'm perfectly happy with this outcome. Kluber was never supposed to be some dominant ace caliber pitcher. He was supposed to be this back end guy who keeps you in games, and that's exactly what he did here. There, I have nothing to complain about with this latest start from Corey Kluber. Houck finished this series off, and he looked pretty good. He went 5 2/3 inning, allowing 3 earned runs on 5 hits and striking out 4. Really, it was that 4th inning yet again for Tanner Houck that he cannot manage to get through. He was burned in that 4th inning in his start as well. Although, what I will say with Tanner Houck is that his stat line is also a bit reflective of who came in relief of him when he was taken out. He came out in 6th inning with 2 outs, and Richard Blyer came to face Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber hit a bomb, so he did end up with 3 earned runs, but really he only let 2 cross the plate, honestly. So this stat line's a little bit inflated for Tanner Houck, but either way, he's still struggling with that 4th and 5th inning. If he could figure that out, he would be fantastic. And speaking of the bullpen, it was pretty solid in this one. Kenley Jansen is back with this team after taking a bit of time off to nurse his back in the Toronto Blue Jays series. He got 2 save opportunities in this one and capitalized on both of them. Kenley Jansen is now sitting at save number 399. His next save will be his 400th save, which is really, really cool to see. So far this year, Kenley Jansen has been a godsend to this Red Sox team. I couldn't even imagine how many losses they would have this year. That would have been wildly frustrating if they had the same bullpen as they had last year. So thank God for Kenley Jansen. Outside of Kenley, Brennan Bernardino finally looked a little bit human, giving up a monster home run to Trey Turner. But overall, he was still really good in this series, and that is still the only run he's allowed in a Red Sox uniform. And we do have a new addition to this Red Sox team, Zach Little. And Zach had a bit of a rough outing in his first go as a member of the Red Sox. He allowed 2 earned runs on a single by JT Realmuto, and he did not look really that great on the mound in his first outing, but it's only one outing, right? So hopefully, 1, either he settles down and figures it out, or the Red Sox find something in him, or 2, Joely, Paxton, and Wyatt Mills come back to this Red Sox bullpen, and he sort of ends up getting phased out of it. But either way, outside of those 2 guys, the Red Sox bullpen looked pretty decent. I think everyone sort of did their job outside of, I would say, Little and Blyer, who has been sketching me out a little bit. But in general, I think this Red Sox bullpen did its job in this series and still continues to be one of the bright spots of this Red Sox team. Overall, pitching wise, I think the biggest takeaway for me has to do with the starting pitching in this one, right? This is one of the first series of the year where you got solid starts from every single one of your starting pitcher. Chris Sale, Corey Kluber, and Tanner Houck all give you 3 earned runs, which for this Red Sox offense is certainly enough to keep you into games, and it's certainly enough to win win you ball games, right? We still are missing that sort of dominant pitcher that we have kind of need to go forward and be a legitimate contender in this league. But if we can get solid starts like this consistently in series, if every Red Sox pitcher for the next 2, 3, 4 turns through the rotation is able to limit the damage to 4, 5 or less runs, this Red Sox team is going to go on a tear. But like we've always talked about, it all comes down to the starting pitching. So it was super nice to see the starters in this series have legitimately quality, consistent starts. And I think overall in this series, one of the most interesting things to me is just how many ways this Red Sox team can beat you, specifically offensively, right? We talked about it. This Red Sox team paper cut the Philadelphia Phillies to death in this one. They didn't destroy them. They just slowly beat them. And that is, to me, the biggest takeaway, is that this Red Sox offense is the one of, if not the most dynamic offenses in all of baseball. And if the starting pitching can continue to pitch like this, I see no reason why this Red Sox team shouldn't be considered one of the best teams in all of baseball. But that's just my opinion, so let me know in the comment section down below. What did you think of this latest Red Sox series? What did you think of this latest Red Sox win streak? What do you think of the Red Sox so far this year? Let me know all your thoughts on the Red Sox winning yet another series against the Philadelphia Phillies in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.